Hello, and welcome to Nurtural Disasters. This is a podcast for those of us with toxic or emotionally immature parents. We might not have a bunch of credentials next to our names, but we do have PhDs from the Hard Knocks University. Basically, we want this to be a validating space for adult children of parents who had no business having children. So, welcome. My name is Lisa.
And I'm the co-host, Ken.
So we're here, Ken, we've known each other for how many years?
We've known each other for, I feel like it's like 10 to 15 years, probably 15 years, right? We met through,
Oh my God.
we actually met through a coworker that I had, and then we ended up being closer friends because of that. It's always funny when that happens. It's like you end up being closer friends from a friend of a friend. But yeah, we've known each other for a while. But I think what made us even closer was that when we started sharing notes on just how our upbringing was, especially with our parents, our relationships with our parents, and kind of create our own support group. It was not necessarily a good thing with our parents. I think we came out pretty much okay. We're normal functioning adults. We go through about our daily lives with no issue. But we do kind of bond over our relationships with our parents, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Lisa has no contact with her mom. I'm, I guess, low contact with my dad. So I'll throw her back to Lisa.
Yeah. So it's funny. Yeah, we did have a mutual friend. We don't even talk to her anymore because she was not.
I'm not sure. What is she doing right now? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't even know.
I don't really care. She was a horrible friend to me. So
I don't think you should put that in, but it's like, okay, sure, let's have that.
I mean, this is an honest space.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's a good friend. Not everybody is a good person, as we've learned. That's the thing. Like when you grow up with toxic parents, you realize from an early age, not everybody is good and it's healthy. You learn that, unfortunately, from your whole life. Some people, they have the luxury of like, oh, I didn't even know. I thought the world was a fair place. I didn't, literally like very Pollyanna. But yeah, like Ken said, so I'm no contact. My mom is a narcissist and she has not been diagnosed. I do have a cousin who is a psychologist, who's been a psychologist for, I think, over a decade. He has his own practice, and he basically said, yeah, she's has a cluster B personality on the DSM-5. So probably is a malignant narcissist.
Yeah, and the thing about narcissism is that no narcissist is going to go into a therapist is like, could you gauge if I'm a narcissist or not? It's not usually like a thing. It's usually a victim of narcissist that goes into a therapist or like a psychologist and gives them kind of like how they've been treated. And it's like, do you think I'm dealing with a narcissist? And that's usually how it goes. I'm not saying that that's what happens all the time. There are narcissists that are aware that they're a narcissist and try to change how they approach their personalities towards people. But usually if it's someone like a malignant narcissist, there's a good chance they're not going to admit that they're a narcissist. They'll probably say that you're probably just, what's the common narcissist thing that they say? Oh, you're just too sensitive or other stuff like that.
Yeah, the gaslighting.
It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong. You're just too sensitive. Everybody's parents are like that, but you don't deal with it well. You just over dramatic or something like that. And then if you deal with that for maybe decades of that, it programs you to think a certain way.
Mm-hmm. For sure, you kind of internalize it. Like, oh,
yeah,
really? Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I'm just making a big deal out of nothing. No.
So you pretty much second guess everything you kind of feel about yourself. And then I think that's what therapy is for people like us. A lot of it is just learning with coping mechanisms and kind of things like that when you're telling your therapist about your situation. It's a lot of, at least good therapists, in my opinion, or therapists that tell you that the only thing you could really change is about yourself. So a lot of things I've learned is about radical acceptance. Just accept that you can't change the people you deal with, like your parents. You're not going to be able to change that. You could change about your own approach to it, to how you deal with your parents. Remember Lisa just right before this recording was talking about how she would run into therapists that would be super biased, right? So there'll be therapists that tell you a certain thing. They're definitely favoring one person over the other. They're telling you bad, like, advice, pretty much.
Yeah, I see my current therapist said, "You have therapy trauma." I'm like, "Therapy trauma? What is?" I never heard that. And it turns out when you have a bad therapist, they actually do a lot of harm. People, I guess you don't realize that. It's like people think of therapy as like taking your car into the dealership at the shop. Like, yeah, it's not like that. I've had some really bad therapists, and that put me off of having therapy for years after, especially this one therapist I had when I was a teenager. And I was in Mexico City, and she was, I think, I don't, she was, I think she was like a spy for my dad. I feel like that's how she was because I said, "I don't think she why is she taking sides?" Both of my parents are split up. They split up when I was very little, 4. They officially divorced when I was, like, 5, I think. So, but they had a very acrimonious divorce.
Mhm.
So, when I was a teenager, I was getting therapy in Mexico City, and I told my dad, I think she's I don't like her, I don't trust her." And you know what he said?
What
He's
do you
like,
say?
"Oh," he's like, "Oh, that's something you read about in a textbook." He was super dismissive. Then I said, "I think she takes your side over my mom's." And he said, "Well, she has to be on the side that's right." And I thought, "Okay." And then I explaining this to, like, other therapists. Later, years later, they go, "There's one therapist, she said, 'Was he paying her?'" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Hmm." She didn't say, she just went, "Hmm." And I could tell from her face.
Sounds like a conflict of interest. It's like, hey, make it so that I sound like the good guy in every situation.
And I think that's the issue that he has. The therapist tell him what he wants to hear versus, like, what he needs to hear.
Well, that's always been a thing where I saw a couple of TikToks, and that's a new phenomenon now. Let's talk about new phenomenons like a trend that people think that people that go to therapy are just paying someone to tell them what they want to hear. Not so. If you've been to therapy, a lot of the stuff they tell you, it's like it's uncomfortable because they're like calling you out on it that you should stop doing a certain thing or do this. It's actually not good therapy to go to a place to have someone tell you that you're doing right
Mhm.
because you're not. That's why you're in therapy. Something's wrong. You don't need you. It's like, well, you're going to a mechanic, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is sounding wrong. Something's grinding, and your mechanic tells you you're totally fine. Don't worry about it. If it breaks down, it breaks down. That's not good therapy.
Yeah, or people think, "Oh, your carburetor's out."
And also, yeah, I wonder why your dad kept going there. It's like, yeah, yeah, because people really hate that people telling them that they're right all the time. Yeah, people hate that. I was like, oh man, I'm pretty sure it's human nature to love having confirm your biases and your viewpoints on life.
Yeah.
For a particular person in leadership and presidency that, you know, we won't talk about here. This is not a political show.
Right. Hey, you wanna hear something funny recently that happened with my dad? He's going to therapy, right? And the therapist contacted me and said, um, "Can you write a letter and send it only to me, not him?" And my dad knew about this. "It's just to me about all the great things so we can build up his self-esteem." And I was like, "Okay."
Is this the same therapist?
No, it's a different one.
Where does he find these therapists?
So I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "I'm trying to build up my self-esteem." And I'm like, "Okay." I felt bad because he's going through divorce number 5. So, and
Divorce number 5, totally not his fault.
totally not, no, 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 no. Oh, no. That's funny because let me finish. So I go on ChatGPT and I'm like, "Can you write a letter in Spanish saying, to build up someone's self-esteem to a parent," or something like that. I did like a prompt. And it came back, and I'm going back, I copy pasted it into, like, a document, and I'm like, "You're very patient." Nope, he's not patient. Nope, nope, nope. "You're wisdom." Nope, nope, nope. "Wife number 5." Nope, that's obviously you haven't learned shit. And then it was like, I had to, delete
So
half.
so so what do you end up with?
It's like,
So you delete all the stuff. What do you end up with?
I
What's good about your dad?
with like, "You you dear dad, I appreciate that when I call you, I could tell you anything and you won't really judge me too harshly. You'll just say, 'Okay,' or you'll always he tries to help out, if I need help, he's there. I think
You have a nice jawline. Thank you for that.
he likes
That's
to
like,
read a lot.
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you're very, well read and you're very knowledgeable about a lot of things," and I sent it to and I emailed it to his, um,
Therapist.
therapist, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, have a great day," and I'm like, "Okay, okay, cool," and then she had to read it to him in the session, and he said, "Oh, thank you for doing that. It was really nice, and it made me feel really good." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad." And it's like, I don't want him to feel bad, but at the same time, it's just like, where do you find these people? Like you said, like, where
I don't
those are
know.
the
Maybe it's the same places where he found his girlfriends that came into it became his wife. I don't know. Wait, has he ever married one of his therapists? I don't even know. That seems like a very interesting thing to talk about. First my therapist, now my wife. Now we're divorced. Only took 5 times. I'm thinking maybe six time is the charm.
Yeah, yeah. Wife number 5 before they split up, she pulls me aside and she's like, "Lisa, what is okay, I've asked your dad, he's always misunderstanding me." I was like, "Yep, yep, yep. He has a hard time putting himself in my shoes and other people's shoes." I'm, "Yep, yep, yep, I know." He's like, "Why question? Why am I wife number 5? What?" And I was like, "What did he tell you?" "Oh, he said, oh, it's none of it was his fault." And no, and I'm like, "Yeah, that requires some level of self-awareness to say, 'Look,
Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, if you 0 for 5, there's something wrong with you. You
yeah,
just don't wanna be aware of it or talk about it, but you know there's a problem there. You can't go over 5 and be like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with me." Well, we could just say it's like, "Well, maybe your choice in women are bad, or maybe you're just horrible and you just don't see it. There's gotta be something wrong."
yeah." I think he's not a very discerning person. He's neurodivergent, and neurodivergent people are not good at discerning people's intentions. He has married or hooked up with he's also had a lot of girlfriends, and some nice, some not, and some I'm like, "Oh, man, they're so fucking rude."
Mhm.
Like, like, I'm doubt why he would ever but yeah, anyway.
Sometimes I just wonder, it's like, I think he should just be honest about it. It's like, "Well, why did you marry her?" I was like, "Well, she was very pretty." That's usually a prerequisite for a lot of people. It's like, "Wow, pretty, attractive. Let's get married." It's sometimes as simple as that, and then you start developing,
Oh,
um
he would say something like that because he has no filter. Like, he with this one, ex-fiancée that he had, he she was let's just say she was not thin, you know,
Mhm.
and I would say, "Oh, so how about such and such?" I'm not gonna say her name. He goes, "I'm not attracted to her because she's fat." Good no, what did he say? Because she's fat, but when I look into her big brown eyes, I tell her I love her, and I'm like, "Wow." You don't say that, you don't vocalize it if you're not attracted. I mean, she was a cool person, she's really cool to me and everything, I think.
Wait, did he marry her?
No, they were engaged, and then, according to him, she broke up with him, but forgot that she had broke up with him because she went into some sort of, like, psychosis or something. Yeah, I can
Could
see
probably do an episode about that.
that. But then she kept trying to contact him, and then, contacting me to contact him, very, like, triangulated, and I just kinda blocked her. I feel bad because I liked her, but anyway, I know. The look on Kim's face is so funny.
Yeah, yeah, this is what was our topic today again? Or
Yeah.
for our, first episode?
Yes.
Gives you some
It
insight?
It's good insight into our
Yeah.
background, right? If you wanna
Yeah.
unless you wanna get right into the nitty-gritty into our background.
Yeah, if you like that, that's not even Lisa's most troubling parent.
No.
That's only number 2.
Yeah, he's like the healthy parent.
Yeah, well, healthy enough where you can still talk to him, right?
Um, sometimes. And then there's, like, a lot of times it's, like, because he's being neurodivergent, he has, like, his special interests and being, like, monologued at about your special interests, and the lack of attunement where, even from as a child, I remember the, like, things that came up and, that could be another episode of, like, things that as a child, things that happened with him that he was just so misattuned, things that were, like, highly inappropriate, but he didn't know. He just didn't know any better because it just that lack of cannot put yourself in your child's shoes, lack of empathy.
Like an empathy, like awareness. Yeah, it,
Yeah,
it, it takes a lot of work sometimes. You can't just, it's not something that you, I think for a lot of people, it's just not something you're born with. It's not a skill set.
Yeah.
So if you're born with that kind of skill set, great. A lot of us have to work about being self aware. And
Yeah, and, you see children, I have a niece and a nephew, 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and you could totally see that lack of empathy where they'll say, this happened just a few days ago, well, weeks ago, um, where we were at the dinner table and talking about, "Oh, my belly's so full," and the girl goes, "Mommy has a big belly." And it got really quiet, and then she whispered into her daughter's ear, "That's not nice to say." And then, they say things like that with no filter because you don't develop empathy, right until you're like, what, around 5 years old?
well, yeah, or at least a filter, at least.
And if you have a parent who has empathy, they can kinda course correct. You're like, "No, that's not appropriate."
Well, there's certain things that you don't
You
say that
don't
you teach your
say.
kids because it's mean.
It's mean, it's hurtful, it's inappropriate, but if you don't have a parent who has that, they kind of continue. Because it's so funny because that 5-year-old, she reminds me so much of my dad with the lack of filter. One time I was driving, and I'd gained some weight, I'm not gonna lie, at that time, and he grabs my stomach, and he pinches it, and he goes like this, like, "Yeah, you've gained weight," and I'm like then I froze, I literally froze, and I was, like, so embarrassed, and I'm like, "Oh my god." Like, things like that, just like, "Yes, I get it, I have pimples, I have wrinkles." Well, not really, but, it's just, like, you don't have to point it out. Children do that. If you're an adult and you haven't learned that yet, there's something else going on.
Well, I think we've aged pretty well. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're older millennials. We just hit, was it 25 part 15? Yeah, we look pretty good for our age. A lot of that was not due to our parents treating us awesome, but we fixed it somehow.
And with my other parent, my mom, I am no contact with her. She's a narcissist, hasn't been, like I said, she wasn't diagnosed or anything, but it's really obvious.
Mhm.
Wait, did I mention about my cousin thing? Oh, yeah, I did. Oh,
You cut your
my cousin
just
is a psychologist. See, when you're no contact with a parent and then I think it's very triggering when there's this Oprah episode that just recently came out
yeah.
about what this contact trend. Um, I am so glad though, after this, I was like, I'm very curious what other therapists and mental health
Yeah.
professionals have to say about this. They they had a field day.
Yeah.
I was like,
They tore into it.
shit. I remember when I saw it, I was like, I texted you, Ken, and I'm like, oh my God, have you seen this? Oprah actually, there was a long time where she was estranged from her own toxic mother.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you know about Oprah's childhood.
From bits and pieces, I knew it wasn't a good childhood where it will cultivate a very good human being, like, growing up. Like, she was, I think a lot of her success now is in spite of that, probably. Like,
Yeah.
she worked even harder because of her upbringing. So it wasn't the best for children to grow up in that kind of environment.
Hmm.
So I feel like she always wanted to do an episode like this. I'm surprised that Oprah's still doing shows right now. I thought she was just kind of like, the original Oprah show has ended for many years now.
Yeah, it's been gone for a
So
minute.
I'm surprised. Like, I remember watching that clip with the expert about this, apparently, this trend. And I'm watching, it's like, it looks like a really weirdly done infomercial. There's like some sort of lighting in there. It almost like they were trying to sell you something.
Hmm.
Not sure what they were trying to sell. Maybe that the guest they had on was trying to sell his viewpoints. Maybe he's releasing a book,
Oh,
something like
the
that.
guy, yeah, the male therapist, because there's
Yeah.
two female. One was a psychologist, the other one was just a therapist.
Yeah.
And then there was a psychologist, and he was estranged from his daughter for a while.
Yeah.
And He do you remember what you told me? You're like, "This dude seems so arrogant."
Yeah, there's some sort of arrogance in there where it's like, yeah, like I think he knew that he was kinda self-aware, but still was not conceding that he was at fault.
Mhm.
He didn't wanna concede. It's like, "Nope, I know this is going on, but I don't wanna admit defeat. It's not totally my fault."
Oh, and he tore into the one remember the one lady with the kid? She's like, "Well, I had to go no contact, for my own children." And he said, "Oh, you're just teaching your child that you just run away from your problems." Like, he's something to that effect, I'm paraphrasing. And then I think he got corrected by the other her name is Lindsay. She wrote the book, Adult Children of Immature Parents that I gave you for your
Mhm.
birthday, actually. And she's like, no, you're also showing them that it's just that if you're being mistreated, you should just stand by and keep being mistreated."
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, someone mistreats you and, usually, if you tell your kid it's like your friend that's mistreating you, stop being friends with them, right? And the main problem with someone mistreating you that's in your family, you can't really get rid of them as your friend. Like, they're there. Like, your mom will always be your mom. That's why it's such like a kinda like internal turmoil. You can't get rid of this person because this person's already part of your family. You can't get rid of that. So, to say, like, it doesn't trouble someone to even encounter that situation and kind of work it out in therapy or even in their own head, it's just very difficult. It's not an easy thing to do to cut off your parents because there will be people around you that tell you, "Hey, maybe you should be nicer to mom and or dad or something like that, or even like a sibling."
Oh, my favorite is, "But she's your mom. But she's your mom.
But she's your mom. It's like always the
You
thing.
need to da da da." It's funny, our mutual friend that we had,
Yeah.
let's just call her Crystal. She, uh I was having issue with my mom, she goes, "You need to repair your relationship." She literally sounded like that high pitched, like, baby voice,
Yeah.
and she would just whine, a grown adult whining, which is one of the worst things. "You need to repair the relationship!" It's just like that, I'm like,
And we've dealt with I think you've dealt with therapists where they tell you to try to repair the relationship, right?
"No, no," because
Even the therapists that weren't good?
no, they were just I wouldn't say some were bad, I think they're just inexperienced, because you're like, "Oh, I'm on a sliding scale, I could get somebody who, like, is just starting out." And, oh, they have another red flag where it's like, oh, their schedule is wide open. So you can just, like, book it right away. It's always the good ones that are, like, all booked up. I'm like, "Okay." And then you talk to them and they're like they just stare at you and they nod and they go, "Okay. Okay. Alright." And it's really quiet and awkward and you're like, "So, well, it sounds like there may be some role reversal with you and your mom." Like, "Yep. Okay." And then it was, like, literally like that, like, it's so quiet and awkward.
Well, it takes time to be a good therapist too. As they go on the years, they just realize maybe, like, the mistakes they're making, they're trying to.
That's for sure, but also I think the best people are the ones or they're survivors, I've noticed. They have this wisdom that you don't read about in textbooks.
It's because they dealt with it.
Yeah.
Then they're like, "Hey, maybe this will work for this person." It's the you get, like, a skill set after a while, uh, dealing with that personally.
Mhm.
That it's just something you can't really teach in a textbook. It's something that's lived, and it makes for a better therapist, I think.
Mhm. 100%.
Mm.
I agree with you.
Even if the therapist never brings that up to you that they were a survivor, I think your empathy builds up that if you
Mhm.
become a therapist based on, "Hey, I wanna help people encounter this thing that I dealt with when I was younger." It's something if you that it's almost like that thing that kinda like a interesting, like, sweet story of a doctor. It was like, "Oh, I became a doctor because I wanted to heal my dad's cancer," or something like that, and that becomes their mission.
Mhm.
Um, I think this is even more so, even greater because you're a survivor, and now you're trying to help people that are going through the same situation as you. Hopefully, end up even better than you ended up. Like, you're a therapist, you're helping people. Maybe someone else would be even reap the benefits of that even better than you have. But that Oprah thing, like, I respect Oprah. I used to watch a lot of Oprah when I was a kid, like, after school. but it's just like a kind of like a rotating like line of just kind of weird, kind of like I don't even want to call them quacks. It's just they're very interesting people that have gotten very popular on Oprah, right? You have Dr. Oz, who's gotten popular on Oprah, and you know what he's doing right now. You got Dr. Phil, who was very popular for.
Giving psychology advice, but he's not even I don't think his degree's in psychology.
I
It's like
I'm not su I'm sure he's a doctor, but I'm not sure a doctor in what, but you know, you're gonna look it up.
his credentials.
I'm sure he's a doctor because you get to be a doctor of a lot of things now, you just pass your PhD dissertation and,
Well, according to AI, he holds a PhD in clinical psychology from the University of North Texas, along with a BA in psychology and MA in experimental psychology. But he's not a medical doctor, MD, or psychiatrist.
which is common, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have their issues with him. And
I think a lot of the idea is that, like, you go on a show and he kinda like a know-it-all. Like, I know everything about psychology, and I know how you should behave and stuff like that. You're obviously he throws a lot of claims out there, and I think that's a lot of it's for, television, right? So,
mhm.
yeah, so a lot of the stuff is that, he's kind of like, "Oh, yeah, he's no nonsense, and he just tells you like it is." It's like, that's not always a good thing, no nonsense, tell it like it is, with no filter. Not
Mhm.
necessarily a good thing. There's some things that, hey, maybe you should keep close to your vest and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I wonder what he has to say about the no contact quote unquote trend. That is not a trend. I mean, do you remember? Okay, growing up, people would say before we had the language for it, and you say, "What happened to so and so?" Oh, they left home early, and they don't. Oh, they joined the army or something. As soon as they turned 18 or even 17, they left home early. That is a huge sign, and they have very limited contact, if at all, with their families. And when you think about that, oh, we just didn't call it no contact, but it was a form of it. I mean,
I mean, it's definitely a thing that that's why I kind of don't like the word trend. It gives it a negative connotation that it's like a temporary thing that just sprung out of
yes.
nowhere. It is not. That's why I was like, I always kind of equate it with it's just now it's like in the, social media consciousness now, like, and it's in public, it's in
It's in the
people know about.
zeitgeist.
Well, I think about the thing was like people sometimes say like, oh, why are kids having so much autism now? All right, there's so many people on the autism spectrum because people actually test for it now. Remember in high school you will have the kid that in a trench coat and he plays Magic: The Gathering, and he doesn't talk to anybody unless you bring up something that he's really interested in. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that kid that people used to call eccentric, that kid probably had autism. Now he's an adult.
You know what I noticed that in like the boomer generation? A lot of they were not diagnosed.
A lot of, and the thing is, I'm like, these people have always existed. The only reason the numbers are going up is because people are actually aware enough to be like, hey, maybe I should get tested or maybe like have an explanation of my behavior, right?
I think with the language, if the language is not there, you just, oh, you're just a weirdo, or what's the word? You're a nerd, you're this, versus like, now we know. You know what? Maybe, yeah, maybe they could be
But
on the
things that
spectrum.
yeah, there's certain things that people talk about. It's like, "Oh, why is there such a blow up in this, epidemic of this?" It's like, "No, it's always happened. These have happened, you just haven't paid attention to it."
Right. And it's funny because it got me thinking there was I remember years ago, we were talking about Abraham Lincoln. He had an estranged relationship with his father, and I guess his father was in he refused to see his father in his deathbed.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I mean, he basically is one of those probably left home early, uh-huh, and his dad was so toxic to the point where it's like, "I can't even see you on your deathbed." That
So
level.
it's
This is in the 1800s, okay?
so, do you have idea what his dad did to him? Or has there any kind of, like, thing he said about his dad? Why that there's
I don't think he said anything bad, but I think his relationship was like, along the lines of let's see, what did he say? So according to this AI, Abraham felt like a slave to his father as his earnings from being hired out to neighbors went to Thomas, his father, fueling resentment. So he basically, his dad exploited him.
It's interesting they use the terminology slave for Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, right? That's
Well, we figure out that's why he was so motivated to end slavery.
right, because he knew what it was like. He had that empathy. That oh my god, we've come full
Oh,
circle. We
man.
figured this shit out.
I was like, okay, so the thing about my dad, it's like I have low contact with my dad, and I really communicate with my dad, but with because my mom has pretty bad dementia, and I want to see my mom as much as I can, but my dad's always there. So that's why I can't go no contact with my dad because he's a gatekeeper for me talking to my mom. So a lot of it is like I think Abraham Lincoln probably has the same kind of like dad that I did. Probably like, oh yeah, you know what? It's great that you became president, but you're not a king or a pope. It's probably something moving the goalposts. It's like, oh yeah, you're president. I can't compliment you on that.
Yeah.
What's so big about being a president of
Well,
like a
well,
of like yeah of a 80-year-old country? Ooh, good. It was like you're not the pope. It's probably something like that. It's like what's bigger than a American president? Royalty and a pope.
right.
Yeah. And now a TikTok sensation probably. But yeah, it's his dad probably never. I'm assuming his dad probably just, hey, you did a good job.
Uh, it doesn't sound like it. And his dad, it says he used corporal punishment, including beatings for perceived laziness and disobedience. So basically, um, so you basically exploited your child, took their money, and beat them if they. Oh yeah, yeah. His dad sounds like a narcissist.
Well,
In my humble opinion.
well, best case scenario, you treat your kid like that, and they end up being American president,
Yeah.
and very famous American president. I think everybody just looks at that. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I was like looking back, and that's when I kept thinking about, when Bridget Bardot, she passed away pretty recently.
mhm.
Beautiful. I mean, this actress, she was the Margot Robbie of her day. Beautiful. And I was reading about her, and I was like, I didn't really know anything about her. I didn't grow up in that era. So I was just reading an article about her life, and she survived by her son, but they're estranged. And I'm like, what? She was in her 80s, I believe, when she passed. Um, and then I was kept reading the article. She said some not nice things. She resented her child for making her fat.
Well,
Yeah, I think she might have.
welcome to parenthood when you complain about your child for making you fat.
Yeah. So, gee, I wonder why her son is estranged from her. Like, and she did not. Um. Oh, apparently. So in her autobiography in 1997, um, she likened, is that the word liken? Likening her pregnancy to a quote unquote tumor and calling Nicholas, her son, the object of my misfortune. So that resulted in her son Nicholas and his father suing her for invasion of privacy. So, uh oh, and she admitted that she'd rather had given birth to a dog.
Well,
Oh, oh.
I love that because she likened a kid to a cancer growth. Well, which is technically kind of true. You are giving birth to like a cell cluster of cells that are replicating. So how like some people say, oh yeah, the miracle of birth. I was like the miracle of cancerous baby. I don't think anybody ever said it like that. Can you imagine if someone was like, well, I got a cancer in my belly. Oh no, you should get that checked out. Check that out. It was like, oh no, she's just pregnant.
She was just
She's just
pregnant.
pregnant.
I mean, it happens, right?
Yeah, how unfortunate, childbirth and
Oh, she was quite a mommy dearest.
yeah, to call your kid a cancer. But the thing is there is like this. I remember my parents. We used to. There's like this old, like kind of like Chinese saying that they would just be like, "Hey, if you're mad at your kid, you'll be like, I'd rather have like gave birth to like a piece of food so I can at least eat it." And this is like a strange thing that people said for years. I don't know. Maybe in another episode I could translate it a lot better, but that's pretty much what it is.
Mhm.
That's saying your kid's kind of like has no utility to you, that you can't even eat your kid. Well, some people probably might try to eat their kid, but
At the
that's the
plus.
thing.
Oh yeah, they eat the placentas, don't they? Or the
Oh
foreskin,
god.
baby foreskin. Well, they use it as cream. It's like
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's like, oh yeah, you get mad at your kid. It's like, well, you're less than a piece of food to me because at least I could eat the piece of food. And I think a lot of parents just say that to their kids. It's like, what a horrible thing to say to your kid. And a lot of it's just cultural, right? You say that to your kid, um, and that's why it's a lot of it is like, how do you determine if it's just your parents is just toxic and then or if your parents is just ethnic? Like, well, I know I've spoken to Lisa about this. Is like, oh yeah, Latino parents, just how they are, maybe, right?
Mm.
Or Asian parents, just as how they are. That's how they
There
raise
seems
it.
to be a common thread with not just, talking to people, like, from Indian backgrounds,
Mhm.
and it's like, wow, your parent it's just I think they've internalized so much of this patriarchal I know Dr. Romney talks about this, and on a macro level, how narcissism got created. Is it societies that are very patriarchal, very socially stratified. And I was like, "Oh," thinking about it, and I thought, "Yeah, definitely Latin America. That's why you see so much narcissism in Asia." I don't know. There's no studies, unfortunately, that we know the rate of it, but just anecdotally for me.
Anecdotally, it's like we see it, but that doesn't necessarily cause like a particular ethnic group to be more narcissistic than another. I feel like it occurs in all ethnic groups, all cultural backgrounds.
Mhm. Especially if there's, like, a history of this long trauma, very it creates narcissism. If you create an environment where everyone's a crab in a bucket, you're gonna develop those kind of, "I need to do what I need to do to get ahead, and I have to basically tap down my empathy, basically suppress my own empathy to get ahead." And unfortunately, that has created narcissism. And I do wanna bring up another one since we're talking about celebrities. Another celebrity, Hulk Hogan, he passed away last year.
Rest in peace.
Mhm. He and his daughter were both estranged when he passed. And I didn't know this. I know I like Brooke Hogan. I remember she had this one banger back in the day.
Yeah, I think she became like a pop star, and then she also had a reality show that spun off from the main show.
The Father Knows Best or Hulk.
I think it was like Brooke Knows Best was like
Yeah.
the the offshoot of the
Oh.
Hogan's Knows Best.
Oh, she had her own show. I didn't know that.
She was definitely the most popular member on there other than Hulk. So,
Yeah, I mean, she had that really good song,
yeah.
but I guess things deteriorated. Um, weren't you telling me that oh, I guess that oh, shoot, there's an audio recording that what got leaked.
Well, yeah. About
Oh,
like a
racial slurs towards his daughter's ex-boyfriend. So she was dating a black dude.
Yes.
He was apparently not very, a little racist. Uh-huh.
You're talking about Hulk Hogan? And
Yeah.
a lot of it was that yeah, I remember this becoming like a big deal. Even so, like he actually went back to like WWE. I think they revoked his status as like a legend there, and he had to give like a seminar to the people that worked there. A lot of black wrestlers that he had to talk to.
Oh, he didn't wanna get canceled, right.
Well,
It's like
for him getting canceled at that time was pretty much a paycheck, right? It's like, he had to explain himself. Well, I don't think their relationship ever reconciled after that. Like she's I think she's happily married now, and they still haven't talked. Like he passed away. I don't even think she was invited to the funeral. That's how bad it was.
That's right. Yes. So there was, an article on People magazine, and I guess they were interviewing her husband, and he basically said he had no interest in meeting their twins. They had twin babies, and I guess according to him, they tried to reach out many times, so the children can have a relationship with Hulk. Apparently, he wasn't receptive, and that was another reason for the estrangement. So I don't think because she was being an ungrateful little shit,
I think she's made quite a career on her dad's name. I think she knows that it pretty much propelled her into at least relevancy, a little bit of relevancy.
I
I wouldn't say it's like a nepo baby kind of situation, but it kind of was.
I mean, well, for her
It's like
singing career,
yeah,
for a teenager to get
the reason
yeah.
why you have a reality show and a singing career was because your dad's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, she's a nepo baby, but at the end of the day, he was toxic.
Yeah, I don't
So
know her personally, I just know as much as news
but I
comes
know
out.
yeah, people calling him ungrateful. It's like, "Oh, he gave her a singing career as a teenager. He gave her this."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing about the ungratefulness, I was like, that's usually the kinda like what like people, like family members or people around your estrangement would just say, "Oh, yeah, you're ungrateful
I
for
know.
your parents."
It's so weaponized.
Well, I always think about this quote that Dr. Romani, talks about, like, she's like, "Just because your parents raised you, clothed you, fed you, that they're a good parent. They did the bare minimum." Like, if they didn't do that, they'll probably be arrested and you'd probably be put in a foster home, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
slave owners did that, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
They
yeah,
they
the
they
slave owners did
they
that. It
get
was
free
like,
room and
yeah,
board.
you have a pet, you feed your pet, you maybe clothe your pet sometimes, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, you take your pet to the doctor. Congratulations, you're a pet owner. Congratulations, you're a bare minimum parent." It's like, it takes a lot more to be a good parent, to have a good relationship with your kid. And there are people around that would be there are people that are in the periphery that will see the situation and chime in, "Well, you're being ungrateful."
Yeah, there's so many enablers
Well,
of
this is
toxic
yeah,
people.
I'll tell you about my situation, like, my sister at times would tell me that I'm ungrateful towards my parents, and she has a terrible relationship with my parents. Like, she does not get along with my dad at all. They pretty much just are at odds with each other, but then she's telling me that. I was like, "Yo, check your own problems first at the door," right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of it, they tell you that, but it's like, okay, do you actually look at the details or just something that you just wanna say because this is just what it should be, right? You should always be, like, nice and respect your elders and stuff like that. I was like, what if your elders is like a psychopath or something like that?
Yeah. When people say that, like, respect your elders blindly, I say, I think respect is should be earned and not an entitlement, and that shuts people up quick.
Oh, the entitlement is what gets to me.
Yeah.
Um, because you're elder, because you're my parent, I have to show you that kind of respect.
Yeah.
Um, no, I could respect my dad to a certain degree. I see him once a week, and it literally is like someone that's torturing me for like 2 hours during our lunch times.
I know, I think it takes you, like, a whole day just to, like,
Decompress. Like, that's how
decompress.
bad it is.
I know. You'll send me texts saying, "Oh, I just saw my dad," and I could tell how miserable you're.
It's just like a sad face, a sad emoji.
I feel very fortunate that I had the luxury of going no contact.
Mhm.
That's and I'm very cognizant that, like, not everybody's situation is so different, but if it ever came to, well, like, where I had to have contact with her again, I think I'd be like, "No, I'll just sleep in my car."
Yeah. So what brought about your no contact with your mom?
Well, I'll save that for another episode because it's so long. We've gone on 45 minutes. Yeah, I know. But I'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, tune in for the next episode. Hopefully, we have more. Hopefully, a lot.
Well,
I think we have lots of stuff to talk about.
oh my god, we have way too much.
Yeah, but the no contact thing, I remember is like seeing that on Oprah when you sent it to me. I was like, um, first of all, not a trend because you think trends go away, right?
Really, was it trendy when she did it with her mom? Yeah,
Uh,
no. But I
it's
don't think she
not.
could I don't think she considers it no contact,
I
though.
think it's like a derogatory term now about things that people actually see are happening, right? If you call something a trend, that means, oh yeah, it just came out of nowhere and it's temporary.
Yeah, it's a Stanley Cup.
It's like
Yeah.
and I think people disclaimer, people that are fans of Stanley, like, cups, they've been around for, like, 100 years, so it's just, like, people just didn't buy it like they did. It's like, "Oh, line up for Stanley Cups." Maybe like a Labubu or something like that, and Labubu is starting to lose popularity at the moment, but, that's a trend because this was through the beginning of time. Ever since there are humans raising their young as their children, there was a situation where someone probably goes no contact with their parents. Or, if biblical things, kill your parent.
Or don't bring your children to wrath. No, oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a thing. It's to call it like a trend is kind of derogatory. It's kind of to lessen the actual idea, I think. To call it a trend is like, oh yeah, like a TikTok trend, like a TikTok dance. It's not a trend. And to say it as such is kind of like it's mean. It's discounting our experiences with reason why we go no contact with our parents.
It's very dismissive, and, like that Have you seen the TikToks from that doormat mom?
The doormat mom is someone that really hurts my feelings. Like, it hurts my brain. I'm like, I can't believe
I
someone like that, just someone that parades herself as out there is like, my kids are Satan spawn.
Yeah,
If you say that, that means you're Satan. You gave birth to Satan spawn. What I see there is, you probably agree with this, someone that's not accountable for her own behavior and just blames their kid for the
that
kid not
lady,
talking to him
she
anymore.
has no self-awareness.
It's either that or she has self-awareness and she's
I think
using
she
this
knows
to
just
advertise.
enough to, like, yeah, and she has a following, that's
She
crazy.
knows she has a following, so she puts up this persona, even if it's not true. To the most dangerous part is not that she's like that. It's she's breeding an entire generation of people that are okay with this behavior. I'm a parent, my kid doesn't respect me. They treat me as a doormat. I did my best as a parent. There's nothing wrong with me.
And
It's something wrong with my kids.
I think the fact that her other children do talk to her, but I think it's her daughter who went no contact. And I'm guessing because she gives very, like, covert narcissist vibes.
Yeah, and it's something that we'll
They
probably discuss in a future episode about narcissism and how the structure of like a narcissism, like kind of like
family
nuclear
dynamic.
family dynamic is like they're not necessarily attacking all of them at the same time.
Yeah, and even Dr. Gerber Mate, he was saying no two children grow up in the same home because some are treated better than others. Like my brother was the golden child. My, you know,
Scapegoat and stuff like that. It's something that we could touch upon in a future episode.
yeah. The thing about doormat mom, though, oh my God! In the Wall Street Journal wrote that article about her. Oh, I wish I could send it to you, but it was behind a paywall. But it's weird because when I first read it, it wasn't behind a paywall, and then they figured, oh, this
Wall
is
Street Journal is always behind a paywall, like throughout their
how was I
entire
able to?
lifetime. Yeah.
How was I don't know how I was able to read it without the paywall, but I don't know. Maybe it was a bootleg site. I don't know.
I don't know. Occasionally, like they'll get reposted somewhere else on another website like MSN or something like that, or Yahoo, and you get the full article. It's like, hey, I didn't have to pay. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the doormat mom, like she's definitely made a career out of it, right? Like she's had a book. I,
That's the one that she released on her daughter the same day as her daughter's wedding?
yeah, if you're a listener and you don't see the problem with that, just like that sounds like spiteful behavior, in my opinion.
That is petty, that is cruel, and you're trying to overshadow it means she competes with her own daughter. Who does that? Oh, narcissists do. Huh. Narcissistic moms see their daughters as competition, and I see right through her. And a lot of people do. Thankfully, a lot of people do. Unfortunately, a lot don't. And you can read the comments. It's like half is like, wow, no wonder your daughter doesn't talk to you. And the other half are like, you are an inspiration. You are an angel sent from heaven.
The people that say that she's an inspiration, they have those trouble with their
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. They need that validation. Like,
They
it
need
was
the
me.
validation.
I was the greatest parent.
Here's the thing about social media. You either get mad at what someone says on social media or someone just confirms your beliefs. And that's a very dangerous thing, kind of like place to be at. It's only one or the two sometimes.
You're so right. And that's why you see a lot of polarization.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's not just black and white. Like there's like situation where it's Lisa where she's totally no contact. And for me, I can't do that. My mom's has very bad dementia. I don't think she has much time left, so I want to spend as much time with
Yeah.
her as I can. It's just my dad sandwiches himself in there. So that's just how the situation is now.
Yeah. I remember when you were telling me about your dad, I was like, he sounds like a covert narcissist. And you said, oh, no, 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 he doesn't love himself. I'm like, no, 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 no. Oh boy, you're about to learn a whole new vocabulary. And yeah, I introduced you to Dr. Romney and I sent you things your way. I get you Dr. Romney's book, you know, and other information. And you're like, oh my God. I remember you put an Instagram post on a story saying, this is exactly like my dad. Thank you, Lisa, for da 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 for. And I was like, yeah, I'm really good at clocking people.
Well, it's like for a time, like before you gave me that book, I was like, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, why am I so mean to my parents or it's like my dad or something like that? And then that book, us talking about it and therapy is like, oh, I'm in this situation. There was a time where I thought I was the black sheep, and then I started asking people around me that was looking at that situation from afar, and then I figure out, oh, I'm actually pretty normal. My dad's very weird, and it's showing to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I was weird. I have like earrings and stuff like that. I used to have like bleached blonde hair and stuff like that, baggy pants, and then my dad just hated that. And then it was just like my teenage rebellion. And then after a while, I thought like into my 20s, into my 30s, oh, I'm still a rebel. Until I went to like therapy. It's like, oh, my dad really created this.
Mm.
Like I'm just a contrarian because of how he treated me. And the
That's
thing
your way
is,
of rebelling.
well, the thing is, my dad is definitely not a terrible parent, in my opinion. Like he tries. That's why it was so hard for me to grasp that he has some narcissistic tendencies. Then I was like, honestly, when I talk to my dad, he doesn't really listen to me. I give him advice, tell him to do things. He doesn't really listen to me. But he gets in trouble though. First person he calls. So there's
That's
something
so
there.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And if I say contrary, he does this thing where he says this very key line that really gets me every single time. Either makes me like guilty or just plain upset. It's like, well, who else am I gonna call? Your family. I'm like, in my opinion, it's like you don't treat family like that sometimes. You don't pretty much use them as like a punching bag. I was like, it's gone to a point where it's so bad that when my dad compliments me, I think he's being sarcastic. It's been there. It's like compliment. Wait, what kind of game are you playing
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah. How much money do you need?
No, because I remember you ever watched that 70 show and like Eric, the main guy, has this relationship with his dad, Red,
Mhm. Yeah.
and he for some reason they started working at the like kind of like their Walmart, and like Eric was just really good at his job, and his dad like, well, it's like he's like the superior is like good job, and he's like Sarah's like, what are you trying to play here? Because like Red's very hard on him, so
Yeah.
him complimenting him just like threw him off. Like he was like, why are you saying this? Are you actually proud of me? And the dad's like, I'm not proud of you. But I wish my dad was kind of like that. I think deep down inside, he's proud of me of a little bit, or at least okay, fine with me being like a functioning adult. But sometimes there's been times where me and my dad drive to lunch and he just talks for like 20 minutes straight without me saying anything. I was like, oh my God. And you know me, I love talking. I was like, I can't stand it. He just won't stop talking about things that I don't care about.
So I do have like okay, I have to bring this up. So you said your mom's her time is you're it's pretty limited on this earth. It let's say she passes away hypothetically and your dad's still alive. Are you still gonna have a relationship with him? Do you still plan on that or do you like I'll let you answer.
I think I will, but a lot of it's not because I think for me, it's just the guilt's still there. I don't think my dad's totally a malignant narcissist. He's not. I don't think he's aware of his behavior. At times, because I remember my childhood. That's the struggle that a lot of people have with going no contact with their parents. It's something that you grow up with, and then you look and you try not to be too biased because it's very easy to be like, it's all their fault. They did this to me. But then it's not that. A lot of times, it's not that easy. It's a lot of it's like, well, my dad never showed up to any of my award ceremonies, like, recitals, anything like that. But then my dad would like, he'll do something really nice, and it's like it's kind of like what a narcissist would do.
Mhm.
They'll be mean to you and then love bomb you, and I just had a relationship like that. Um, because I still remember as a child when my dad would work a night shift, and then every night without fail, I will wake up when he gives me like a kiss on the forehead. Like he did that every night for like my whole like time I was like a teenager, from young to like teenager. So that's why I try not to be very mad at my dad. I was like a lot of my minimal contact with my dad, it's for my personal well being. As my dad got older, his behavior's gotten worse. So, but I try not to be totally like angry at him and just vitriol at him, because there are moments of very nice, like sweet moments, and I try to factor that in. For some other people, I'm not sure for you, Lisa, it's like it's no good moments in there. A lot of it's very minimal. It's not worth it to think about those moments and be like, let's still have a relationship very on the surface level. It's not even good to have that.
Well, when someone mm, you know, and it's so complicated because when someone is so toxic, but there are like those intermittent moments of like niceness.
Yeah, it's that love bombing.
Right. It's like, you were talking about your dad would kiss your forehead.
Hmm.
When sometimes when my mom would put us to bed, me and my brother, she would like rub our backs and give us like a little back massage and it felt really good. And then And I was like, "Oh, wow." Is it that so but it's intermittent, it's not consistent, and she's done a lot of really, really horrible things, to the point where it's like, takes no accountability and doesn't feel any remorse, and those are 2 huge things, and that's why a lot of the family doesn't talk to her, I have a cousin who's getting married in Mexico next month, she's not invited, and every time she's in Mexico City, there's always drama. I'm like, "What does she do now?" "Oh, she slashed up my uncle's painting." Like, literally, that's
Yeah, I remember you told me that, and I was just like, "That's so messed up."
it's just it's just so vindictive, and, like, once she perceives a person to be her enemy, she will go all out to destroy them, like, super, super vindictive,
Mhm.
and to be around that toxicity, to me, like, it's just my life is just so much more peaceful, I would love to have a relationship that was normal and healthy, and I know I've come to I've accepted that's never gonna happen. It'll never be a healthy relationship.
And a lot of that is you go to therapy for that kind of working on that because I think by default will be like, I'm going to try to make a relationship. And your therapist is like, just make sure you know that you're not going to be able to change your parents' behavior. So you keep that in mind. So what do you do with this information? And I feel like good therapists will give you that choice.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to be totally like it's like, oh, I swear off my parents or I try to make a relationship with my parents. No, it's really your point. What's whatever helps you function as a regular human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally thank you for that, Ken, and with that in mind, that's the end of this episode, and stay tuned for the next episode. Hopefully, it'll drop soon, and we have a lot to talk about.
It might last for hundreds of episodes. Who knows?
Yeah, we probably
One
make
could
enough.
only hope that we could do that. So,
Yes.
so share this. I don't know how people share this, but yeah, tell your friends about it.
Yeah, hopefully, people can find solace in this and not feel so alone. I think that's
And honestly, recording this is kind of like our therapy session.
yeah, it's our therapy session. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.